Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bernie and I talk about all things fashion, film and anything else that comes to mind. I just want to make a really short disclaimer that for this video I'm going to be putting out a trigger warning because I will be talking about sensitive topics in regards to mental health, and to say you know that these kind of topics such as anxiety and depression may trigger you, please highly suggest you click off this video and do not watch it, because I do not want to make you feel upset or trigger you in any way, because this is a place of safety, information and just discussion. So please, if you know these topics are highly sensitive to you or bring up your mindset in a negative space, please be cautious or just don't watch this video at all, please. Okay, and for those who have stayed, let's continue with this video. So I'm going to be breaking up this topic into 3 different sections based on models and mental health, fashion designers and mental health, and the industry as a whole and mental health. So let's get started with the first topic, which is models. There's no secret about it. Models in the industry, in the fashion industry, do deal with a lot in terms of mental health. There is not much talk about it in previous years, but in the last couple of years, especially I'd say a year or two now, a lot more models are coming forward about their experiences and how they've been feeling in industry and how it's impacted their mental health. As well as previous models who have been in the industry for many years and decades have also come forward with their experiences, and model agencies and groups have been formed to help bring awareness to this and to help support models in the industry. As a model in the fashion industry, it's literally all about image and how you look and how you perceive yourself, how you market and brand yourself for a designer or a particular company that you're working with, or a client, whatever client, or even an agency. There's that pressure to look a particular way, and it all comes down for marketing to sell the product in a particular aspect and a particular theme. With this issue, there's lots of pressure to have an idealistic and to look in a particular way. So there's this pressure based on image that models have to deal with, and that's basically what I've seen. A lot of them talk about how they look beautiful. They've been told they look beautiful all the time, and for some it's actually skewed their mindset about how they look at the world and how they think about themselves. So I think there's 2 things down this rabbit hole for models and mental health. One is that skewing with your mindset and how in that particular environment you can be placed on a pedestal and how it makes you feel like you're placed on a pedestal, whereas there's 2 where maybe you don't meet a particular client's needs, and so that environment can put you down by how you look per se, and because you don't meet a particular market. There was a video done by Vogue which had a couple of models come through, which are basically talking about how mental health has impacted them, and a lot of them agreed that it's because they're replaceable. They know that models go in and out. They know that they can just find another model, that there's a large quantity of them, so there's that pressure to keep on top of their game. So I feel like mental health and models in the fashion industry, it's lots of pressure. It's the fear aspect of it that they focus on, because it's kind of like, well, you can, if you don't meet us, we'll just find somebody else. And then there's the aspect of livelihood and losing work for months and time period and finances and all of that plays into it as well. But there's the pressure, which is, I'm going to talk about that, which plays throughout the whole industry as a whole. But models are pretty much the face, they're the face. They have to look a particular way. There's a certain message they're trying to get across to a client or customers or followers, some stuff like that, so there's lots of self-doubt because you don't meet a particular client's needs. There's also, oh, you're so beautiful, there's this, that. There's all this hype around your appearance that it skews with their mindset and perspective on the world and kind of makes them feel like their appearance is all that matters. Happy that in the last couple of years a lot of that's being addressed. Models aren't objectified as much anymore. A lot of them are speaking out. Models' rights are being formed, and also talking about their experiences in the industry and basically how it's affected their mental health and how they perceive themselves and how they fit in this industry and in this world. So now we will move on to fashion designers. Designers and mental health is definitely, I think, not just the basis, but they're a huge part of it. Massive part of it. I mean, like I said, for models, for them it was about fear. It's like utilizing fear and taking the aspect of fear, and that fear and anxiety is, what's pushing, the deterioration in mental health for models. But for fashion designers, it's absolutely about pressure, 100% about pressure. The pressure to keep up with the market, the pressure to keep up with particular amounts of units, the pressure to keep up with the amount of units sold, the pressure to keep on trend, to be ahead, the pressure to produce work in a particular time frame, the pressure to create something new and innovative and to be the next big thing, the pressure to not just be the next big thing but to keep that standard for every year, for every season, the pressure for that, and the pressure of balance between designing and social life. And also there's the pressure, social pressure, absolutely, from the public, their customers, the media, and also within the industry itself. The pressure to keep things moving, keep the wheels turning. I think for designers, that's one of the most pivotal things, is that a lot of designers go into the industry to create art because they have a passion for it. They want to create their own line. They have an envision. They have a drive, But the business side and marketing kicks in. And not to say it's a bad thing, I just feel like for so long not for so long, I feel like the key thing is to keep that even ground, and moments there can just be an uneven ground, because you do need business and marketing and design and art to, cohort and work together. And I think that's when one side kicks in more than the other, it's just, the balance is out. It's a very pivotal thing because for fashion designers and their mental health, the pressure is too much. There's this even pressure within the social groups, probably in the industry. I can't speak for anyone, but I can say from what I've seen and what I've semi heard from others, it's like, to be on top, there's that sense of competition, which I will talk more for the next topic. But for fashion designers, it plays with you, it plays with your mind, it plays with how you perceive yourself, perceived by how you're successful, because as a society we define success by how big or well known a designer is, or how well known their brand or name is, or how long they've been around, their history. Nostalgia is a massive thing right now, so the longevity of a brand, that pressure that the designer has to have to keep that on brand, but also present their brand in a new way. And for a head designer to keep that pressure on top of the marketing side and business side of things and the economic side of things, keeping the business running financially, there's that too. So, if you put yourself in a designer's shoes, there's a lot of ways in which that pressure can just be too much on their own mental health and well-being. I don't want to, speak on behalf of these designers, and I can't because I don't know them personally. Sorry, I keep looking. I don't know them personally, but from what I've seen and from the outside looking in, as a person who is passionate and as a designer myself, not in the particular field, but I'm a designer in a different field, the pressure to be on top of their things and be on brand, or when you're collaborating to be on brand with them, as well as to have a successful output when the brand or season per se is released. Even just selling a campaign product, doing a campaign, there's pressure in that too. So I mean there's pressure in every career force, but I'm talking specifically for fashion designers right now and in the fashion industry. The history of some designers, for say I'm gonna screw his name, don't come at me. YSL, okay? I'm not Yves Saint Laurent. I'm sorry. Definitely had his own demons to deal with when designing. Definitely the pressures at that moment. And definitely think Steve McQueen. Revolution, like, he's one of my favorites. Revolutionary designer, absolutely amazing output in terms of creativity in fashion design. And he himself had his own demons, had his own mental health issues at the time. It does suck because when you look back there, the things that they've created, a lot of them at the time got into it because they love fashion design. They learnt designing when they were young, at a really young age. They learnt from their parents or family members, relatives, or friends. They purely got into it for the love of design, and their art, their creativity just fell like straight into it. Their whole heart and soul for fashion design to create was just wholeheartedly in it. And sometimes that pressure, I don't know exactly what happened. I wasn't in his mind or their mind at the time, but I feel like a part of it, from my own opinion, is absolutely pressure. The pressure to balance things out amongst other issues they may have had besides being a fashion designer, other personal issues that we may never know about. And Kate Spade as well, beautiful designer. Oh my god, her bags are stunning, and in their heart you just feel like their intention at the end of the day is to create. They want to create a design. They're visionaries. They have this idea, but unfortunately mental health, especially for fashion designers, that support system, and amongst other things, I'm not a psychologist, so please, if you do have issues, please talk to someone about it. Talking is amazing, an amazing thing that it can do, amongst other things. So if you do feel down, please do seek help. The health in the fashion industry absolutely needs to have a spotlight shine on it once in a while, just to get a little tap on the shoulder and be like, hey, how are you going? How's things going? How's your health and well-being and wellness? And they're the head and heart of their company, their brand. So let's move on to the last one, which is the industry itself. Fashion, but in the beauty industry as well, I'm happy to see that a lot of brands are taking that on board more seriously. It's more talked upon, especially, I feel like, this is just me personally, but I feel like society as a whole has seen the damage it's been done, or can see behind the pretty sparkly curtains, and has kind of pushed and drived for mental health and well-being of members who work in the industry, whether it be individual or as a whole. Absolutely, there's definitely been that push to be like, hey, what about these models and how they're feeling? Hey, what about this fashion designer? Something's up. Hey, the customers aren't just about buying the product or anymore. They're not just about posting the pretty picture on social media. It's not just the hype around a new brand and their new season coming up. It's also about, hey, following the individual within the fashion industry and being like, hey, something's up. Hey, something's not right. There's and I think that also comes with social media. It's created this connection between members of the fashion industry to their consumers a lot more. There's this relationship, there's this dynamic that's able to be connected between the two. She as a whole, the history itself, we all know in terms of mental health has been very under the cover, very under the rugs. But in these last couple of years, it's definitely being pulled out of the shadows, and a lot of things that aren't right have been discussed or being pulled out. In these three as the top or whatever, or that these three only matter, because that's not true. Definitely there's so many people behind the scenes, even more, like, you know, who even I haven't even listed, like photographers, editors, publishing companies. There's so much more, you know, the team who sew and create and put together the garments and these pieces together behind the scenes. You know, there's so much more. Like as said, it's an industry as a whole, it's massive, it's big, but to everyone involved, mental health and wellness and well-being, especially in a fast-paced industry, there's this pressure, there's this fear, there's this competitiveness between other companies, other models and other designers to be the next big thing, or keep being the next big thing, or the next big thing being talked about, or to be on top, or to stay on your game, you know, longevity, all this other stuff, you know, the economics of the brand as well and the company. You know, there's so many other aspects that I think that are part of the fashion industry that definitely should be discussed and talked about, and every individual should you know, have that support. As a collective, it should be a place and a space to create. Like, heck, that's like a beautiful world to live in. Unfortunately, like, that's not the reality, but you know, maybe talking about it a bit more. I know I can't speak much for everyone else, but you know, even just talking about it a bit more, communication is key. And on a wonderful note, you know, it's being discussed, and that's the first step. Sometimes the first step is to just talk about it, point out the issue, point around, you know, something that's wrong, you know. So much for watching this video. I really appreciate you clicking through and just watching and hearing what I have to say. Like I said, this topic is very sensitive, but I think very, very, very extremely important at this time, especially in the fashion industry, which is quite toxic and which we all are aware of. I do stand by with what I said, and I do have good intentions with every word that I said. If you are in the industry and you do want to speak about your experiences, or you would love to share your experience, or you just want to talk to someone, don't be afraid to reach out. I'm an open book. I would love to talk to you. I'd love to meet new people and meet new peeps and friends and all that. So I'll leave a social media down below so you can reach me and DM me from there. I hope you learnt something new. That's a big thing. I really hope you learned something new out of this video. You learned some sort of mindset or gained a new perspective, and I hope you just left this space with an open mind. So I really hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Keep looking at this viewfinder, and I think it's the red jumper. It's the red jumper. My eyes are just like, it's the red jumper.